You are listening to STR Global Unlocked, brought to you by AGL Atelier, the show where I speak with the leaders shaping short-term rentals worldwide. I am Simon Lehmann, and after 2 decades buying, selling, advising, and investing, I've built a network that spans continents and categories. This podcast brings that network to you. Real conversations, global insight, no PR fluff. Let's get started. Welcome back to STR Global Unlocked. This is the final episode of 2025, hence my beautiful jumper that I'm just wearing for you. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and now let's talk together about the past year of 2025. It feels incredible for me to stand here at the end of this year and look back at everything that has happened in our industry, everything we've learned together and everything we built together through this podcast, through the conferences, and through the experiences we made in a quite challenging year, I believe. This was a big year. For me, it was a transitional year, a maturity year of short-term rental, a year where the short-term rental industry grew up in many different ways. But it was also a big year for me personally, because in October this year, we officially launched STR Global Unlocked. Launching this podcast was one of the most meaningful projects I have ever embarked on since I founded AGL Atelier in 2018. The idea behind it was simple: to create a space for honest, unfiltered, credible conversation with people who shaped our industry around the world. The response has been overwhelming. The engagement, the messages, the discussions, the support, it has exceeded every of my expectation. And before we dive into reflection, industry shifts, and conference takeaways, I want to start by thanking the extraordinary guests we had so far who joined me in the first month of the show. Cliff Johnson, co-founder of Occupancy, thank you for your honesty and your reflections on the evolution of professional property management. Glenn Fogel, CEO of Booking Holdings, thank you for offering a global perspective a few leaders in travel can actually match. Amiat Soto, co-founder and CEO of Guesty, thank you for your insights on scaling technology and navigating complexity in a rapid evolving landscape. Carl Shepard, happily retired co-founder of HomeAway, thank you for sharing wisdom and historical context, which we also need at times only a true industry pioneer can provide. Sean Breuner, founder and CEO of AvantStay, thank you for challenging how we think about hospitality, branding, and guest experience. Jeremy Gall, founder and CEO of Breezeway, shared with us how continued leadership is defining operational excellence within our industry. Richie Kandawal, co-founder and CEO of Pricelabs, thank you for delivering deep revenue management expertise and for sharing how automation at scale is reshaping how we do pricing. Brian Egan, co-founder and CEO of Evolve, thank you particularly for your perspective on consumer behavior and the shifting expectations of modern travelers. Jeff Hurst, CEO Furnished Finder, thank you for clarifying the rise of midterm stays and why this segment has become so influential, and we'll hear a lot more about it in 2026. Last but not least, Woody Marshall, general partner at TCV, thank you for sharing what investors truly look for in STR technology and how capital views the next decade. To all of you, thank you for generosity, your candor, your willingness to have real conversations that matter to us around the world. This show would not exist without your voices. But I also want to thank our 3 incredible launch sponsors who believe in this show from day one. First of all, eviivo, a reference platform property management system for independent hospitality operators, to professional hosts, and to elevating the guest experience is unmatched. Pricelabs, trusted revenue management engine for operators who require precision, automation, and full control across large portfolio and small portfolios. Your leadership in data and pricing continues to move the industry forward. Last but not least, Breezeway, the operational heart of so many hospitality businesses. Your work in workflow automation, quality control, and guest experience is redefining what hospitality excellence actually means. To all three partners and sponsors, thank you for supporting this podcast at launch and helping bring it to life. We are looking forward to announcing more sponsors at the start of 2026 who believe in the truly global STR Global Unlock podcast. Now, let's talk about 2025, because it was the first time in a long time that the short-term rental industry ecosystem made a notable shift towards maturity. The first shift was professionalization. The gap between professional operators and casual hosts became clearer than ever before. The operators who documented processes, monitored performance, trained teams, and invested in service quality found stability. Those who relied on improvisation felt the pressure, to say the least. The second shift was the return to financial fundamentals, finally. For the first time in years, occupancy was no longer the headline metric. Margins were, contribution margins were, profit margins were, cash flow was. The industry finally grew up. The third shift was the evolution of technology. The tech stack became leaner, more integrated, and more intentional. This was the year operators stopped buying software because it sounded impressive and instead chose software that reduced friction and delivered actually clarity. And the fourth shift was the emergence of practical grounded AI. AI became a real operating partner, supporting forecasting, guest communication, scheduling, pricing analysis, and even predictive maintenance. Not replacing teams, but enabling them to move faster with more consistency, more confidence, and, of course, efficiency. 2025 was a maturity year, plain and simple. Now, let's talk about the conferences, because each one tells part of a story how the industry evolved this year, and I'm sure you have attended many. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend all of them, and I tried to visit some different ones than I did last year, and some of which I really enjoy every year to attend. And I'm sure next year I'll get the opportunity to attend some conferences which I haven't attended this year, which I'm really looking forward to. In March this year, I have had the pleasure serving as a master of ceremony at the VRM Days in Hamburg, inaugural event. This event captured the essence of Europe's professional hosting community. Structured, thoughtful, focus on solutions and not buzzwords. Revenue management, operations, and portfolio performance dominated the conversation. This was one of the first signals that 2025 would be a year of operational discipline. Next came the Short Stay Summit in London, where I moderated the investor panel. This conversation was raw, honest, and absolutely necessary. Investors made it very clear that they are looking for real economics, sustainable operations, operational excellence, and technology that resolves real problems, and leadership teams that actually know who they are serving. This conference reinforced a fundamental truth. Capital never disappears, it simply becomes wiser. Later in the year, after the summer break, the Holiday Partner event gave me the opportunity to speak about the impact of AI on hospitality. This was one of the most energizing keynotes of the year for me. We explored how AI is transforming workflows, speeding up decision-making, supporting personalization, and enabling operators actually to scale without scaling the complexity of their operation. Later at Hollywood Destination Marketing Conference, I delivered a keynote on how destinations can embrace short-term rental as a core competence of their hospitality offering and not just focusing on hotels. The message was simple. Destinations need to stop seeing short-term rental as a problem and instead see it as an asset, a driver of economic value to the destination, innovation, diversified demand, and guest choice. This conference showed how tourism boards, city leaders, and DMOs are finally starting to evolve their thinking. VRMA this year felt different. As a media partner, I had the privilege of speaking with hundreds of operators, suppliers, and founders. The conversations were most honest than ever before. Less hype, but more reality. People talked openly about challenges, technology consolidation, profitability, staffing, guest expectations, and of course, regulation. VRMA felt like the industry, to me, taking a step forward into adulthood. Serving as a master of ceremony for the Australian Short-Term Rental Conference at the beautiful Gold Coast in Australia was another highlight to me. Australians bring an extraordinary openness to this industry. They share data, they share insights, they share experiences without ego, without hesitation. Astra is one of the most forward-thinking, collaborative, and inspiring conferences in the world. And finally, we closed the year with DARM, Data and Revenue Management Conference in Destin, Florida, where I had the honor of serving as a co-MC together with no less than Tim Cafferty. DARM is where the smartest minds in data, revenue management, analytics come together. And this year, the insights were especially powerful. For example, AirDNA data showed that the high-end leisure markets continue to perform strongly. Urban markets showed meaningful recovery, and suburban mid-tier markets showed opportunity for operators with strong strategy and pricing discipline. Key data showed insights that reinforced the luxury outperformed mid-scale markets. Professional operators outperformed casual hosts. Consistency beat experimentation. Demand didn't disappear in 2025. It redistributed, so it stayed flat. And the winners were operators who understood their segments, their guests, their pricing, and of course, their operations. DARM also highlighted how AI is reshaping forecasting and accelerating the evolution of revenue management. This event was a powerful close to a transformative year of the short-term rental industry. One of the strongest trends this year was the rise of midterm living, driven by remote workers, traveling professionals, relocations, internships, medical staffing, and of course, lifestyle flexibility. Midterms became a stabilizing force for thousands of operators, and it's going to continue to do so as we face more impact from regulation. It offers higher occupancy, lower turnover costs, and more predictable revenue. And it will continue to grow as living patterns shift across the world. AI is also on the brink of transforming how inventory is distributed. We're moving toward a world where consumers will ask AI to find the best place to stay based on their needs, on their budget, based on their preferences and their context. This will compress the search funnel dramatically. It will increase conversion, and it will fundamentally reshape your direct booking strategy, OTA dynamics, of course, channel management, and even pricing and how we package the product. Distribution is about to change more in the next 3 years than it has been in the past 20 years and what we have seen so far. Looking back, 2025 was one of the most insightful, challenging, and rewarding of my personal career. Launching this podcast opened the door to some of the most meaningful conversations I've ever had. I learned from pioneers, from innovators, from disruptors, from operators, and from people who care deeply about the evolution of hospitality at large. And I learned from the audience who showed me how hungry the industry still is for truth, for clarity, for strategy, and for an honest dialogue. 2025 reminded me how important it is to stay curious, to listen, to challenge assumptions, and to keep pushing for better thinking and better execution across the entire sector. And before we close, I want to acknowledge something equally important. AJL remains the core of what we do. Our consulting, our advisory work, our investment guidance for operators, tech companies, property managers, investors, and also touristic destinations remains the foundation of our expertise. AGL has grown significantly this year and continues to be a reference consulting firm in the global short-term rental industry. The insights we bring to clients are the same insights that fuel this particular podcast. And in 2026, our mission remains the same: to elevate the industry, to support better decisions, to help businesses scale, to shape, especially the future of short-term rental, but also the larger hospitality vertical, with clarity and with confidence. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for listening, for engaging, for supporting, and for believing in the value of open and honest conversation. Thank you to our guests. Thank you to our sponsors, our friends across the industry, and everyone who contributed to the first season of STR Global Unlocked. This was an extraordinary start, and I cannot wait to continue the conversation with you in 2026. I wish you a healthy and prosperous new year. Thank you very much for your support. That was STR Global Unlocked, where we say what others won't. If you got value from today's episode, send it to someone who is still playing it safe. Follow the show and get more global insight at ajlatelier.com. The globally recognized STR consultancy I founded and that proudly brings to you this show. More bold conversations are on the way, so stay tuned.